Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Zwift Community Live broadcast of the Core Sports Warrior Race. We are out on the newly released expansion just a couple months ago, out on Watopia for Sand and Sequoias. We're going to be seeing some dinosaurs and some Fuego Flats out there today. There's a KOM in the middle of this one-lap race, and we've got some pretty high-end talent both in the race as well as coming at us from Australia, as Koa is taking over the talent side today. We're going to be joined today by Koa Sports with Tim Ballantine, Greg McDermott, as well as Kent Cross. If you're unfamiliar with Koa Sports, as they join us as partners in broadcasting, Koa Sports is a bespoke coaching and esports service spanning 35 countries worldwide. All coaches are full-time professionals with national accreditations and many years of experience. Koa Sports is for the endurance enthusiast, competitive beast, or wild dreamer. You can check out their top-rating podcast actually on iTunes and Spotify. Search Koa Sports Podcast for training, tips, e-racing highlights, and featured guests. You can join the tribe and be a warrior with Koa Sports. You can visit them at koasports.com.au. Tim Ballantine is going to be joining us on lead for commentary. He's a coach, 2 times Kona, as well as 5-time 70.3 champion and course record holder. Greg McDermott, that's going to be joining him for color, is a coach, 5 times Ironman, as well as Ride Around Oz. And Kent Cross, who's going to be bringing in some stats in the background, is former professional Formula One motorsport driver and now endurance coach and competitive age groupers. So want to introduce them to the broadcasting, and really great to have them on as partners, taking over some of the productions here and serving different time zones that we haven't been able to serve a lot of times here on Zwift Community Live. Now we are live on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, as well as Mixer. Make sure to turn those notifications on and share up so everybody can watch all of the racing action. Let's just jump on with our talents today, coming out of Australia with Koa.
Per kilo by Sproul.
Jason's coming back. Chris is coming back over the top. G'day and welcome to the Koa Sports Warrior Race. Wherever you are in the world, I'm Greg McDermott. This is Tim Ballantine, and over on our left, or your right-hand side, we have the remarkable Kent Cross joining us. How are you, Tim?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. I think I'm feeling a little bit better than Kappa or Kent, mate. He's a little bit snotty, would be the best. So we're starting to sort of lean this way, but looking forward to tonight, we should say, or it's morning where we are. And one lap, 22 Ks. First 10 Ks pretty flat, obviously. there was some attacks early, which we'll talk about in a second. But
so
we are
last
probably
night.
about a minute away from the jump, so we should head to the
huge,
paddock.
huge field in this evening, Tim. And shout out to Britt Mason, who took down the big event in Long Beach in 2017 in Zwift Racing. And we will be expecting to see Britt right at the front of the field. No pressure.
So, do we talk about making predictions, Greg?
I said expecting. This is an expectation. Not a
Okay,
prediction.
it's not a prediction.
So we definitely, I am the king of all predictions. However, I'm going to back
Incorrect.
them off. I'm going to back them off. We're off, and we are racing as always. We have some huge numbers coming off the front end of the field as the 4 grades all roll together as we do in the Carl Sports Warrior Race.
Yeah, unbelievable, mate. So big paddock tonight, and looking forward to seeing some big numbers here off the start. We'll obviously start to see some familiar names. We've got some Carl Sport Warrior jerseys in the peloton tonight. Look at the size of that peloton tonight, so big. You won't get too much attrition in the first sort of half, so. Yeah, and then obviously they'll start to wind their way through the early parts of Titans Grove, spit out the back of Titans Grove, and then back down onto the flats to the finish of what is I would say, an understated finish line, but always produces massive numbers.
Yes, and I definitely got my little finish line wrong last night, Tim. I went a little bit too late, and I lost by about 3 seconds. So.
Wow.
Getting through the Zwift at the moment. So
Hodges in there. We're
back.
with him at the moment. So mid-pack, you can already see that's just starting to string out a little bit. Lots of Bs and As here mixed together. You can see their categories beside their names. The Bs are a green little icon with a B, and A obviously with the red. So and then you've obviously got the Cs and Ds that typically have their own fights towards the finish as well. So again here, nice well-organised pack, and people just to mid 200 watts for these guys is going to be very, very comfortable, and not even 150 beats per minute at this point. So already starting to wind down off that typical big start.
Yeah, and Tim, this morning or this evening, this afternoon, wherever you are in the world, this is the biggest field we have ever had assembled in the Carl Sports Warrior Race. So thanks to all our supporters out there, and it's great to see some familiar names always coming back for more pain as they come around.
Yeah, so. Ossenbrick, VH in there. We've got Berger, Brown. I'm sure Sproul and Side are in there as well. And we'll look for them as well. So it usually really, I like to always watch Alex Side up that last part of the Titans Grove, really lay it down. That's typically, we're with him now. So Alex is in there, which is great to see, and very aggressive rider, and certainly provides a lot of entertainment. And so much of this e-racing is about entertainment. Obviously, the training effect as coaches is really important, but we like the entertainment side as well. So keep it interesting. And what happened last night, Greg? Was there some sort of coordination WhatsApp group going on?
There was a WhatsApp group that went on between the Carl Sports athletes and
How'd that go?
and a little coach as well. And
you're in there?
Yeah, so 6 minutes was the call out for the attack, as we see an attack go off the front here
little
at
one.
the moment.
Just a little one.
I don't think a solo man attack against a group of about 60 is going to stay away, but we'll stick with the action there. So 6 minutes was the call. Full gas effort for 60 seconds to establish a breakaway. I was involved in that. 800 watts for about 30 seconds as I went up the front. And
nice.
We stayed away for about 4 kilometres. We got it out to 7 seconds, but I think there was a few bombs going off at the back end of that group, and it's good. Quickly rolled back.
Good
into
to try.
the main field.
It's good to sort of experiment. I certainly find you get a little bit of napping on this race, certainly in the early parts. So you can sometimes catch them out. I've been in races and been caught out before as well on this S&S course, where you sort of let the 3-4 man break and you just never see them again. So we've got plenty of comments coming through on Facebook Live as well, and of course, it would be good to see plenty of feedback, and hopefully positive, but albeit, you get a sprinkle of funny comments.
It's all good. And now, Tim, before we hit the real action here on this race, let's talk about the little cap that people may have seen you donning there in the introduction. You've got a special little cap on this evening, and you might want to tell us a little bit more.
We might have
Here we
to,
go.
so
We've got you in the corner there, so give it a good look.
I'm wearing this cap. It was sent to me by a very generous athlete in China, and this could be one of the great.
there
It
he
could
is.
be one of the great stitch ups because I've been told that it's meant. Well, I'm not going to tell you what it says because that's part of the competition, but it says something or it means something. Maybe it means something else, right? But we're giving away a 3-month code on this race. So it's not necessarily first, but whoever can get closest to what this hat means in the comments box of Facebook Live, we will send a 3-month code to. So that's 45 bangers US dollars there for a bit of a prize. So if you can, and if you want to be creative and funny, we might even, pick the funniest suggestion.
There
but
might be another code
keep
going
it,
out as
keep
well.
it clean.
Clean. It's we're a family business here at Carl Sports, so keep
Yep.
it all nice and clean. And it's funny, I did have to send that hat off to China and get a friend of mine to send it back. So it's been a real round the world trip to get that hat on your head. So we'll see.
Are you
where
involved in
We'll
this?
see where it comes out. We'll see
Oh,
where it
God.
comes out. We've got a little attack by Corrigan here going off the
Yes.
front at 7 watts a kilo. So we'll see if anyone's going to
Stretching
join
the
him
legs.
as,
He's racing the train.
As he rolls, he's racing the train. That's right. So again, it's a very tough course to stay away solo here, with a lot of flat. The first 10 kilometres or 6 miles being pancake flat through the Sand and Sequoias course.
Yeah, very, very flat indeed. So, but you can get a little group. You got a little response here by O'Keefe. 7.7 watts per kilo. They're moving up to the back wheel of Corrigan. VH there, 5. So if you can get that 4-man sort of breakaway, then you can start to work together. Not sure whether 1 or 2 seconds, but if they stick at it, certainly, you never know. We know Corrigan can certainly ride. We've seen him in the finish in the past. And you've got Scafardi in there off the front of the group, and a lot of big names back in that main peloton. So a 2-man breakaway now. They've put 3 seconds into the main group, O'Keefe and Corrigan. So we'll watch how this sort of unfolds. They're going to have to continue with some big numbers, and at the moment, that's not going to be enough. So they're either going to have to really up it or just sit back up and let the big peloton come through and swallow them up, which it looks like it is inevitably going to happen.
Yeah,
Greg.
like real life cycling, things happen on esports cycling and Zwift in particular that mimic real life riding. So the old out of sight, out of mind is always a good one. So if you can sustain an attack and roll off the front of the peloton until they cannot see you anymore, that's a real psychological blow, and those attacks often stay away. But 1 or 2 seconds here with a group of 70 riders coming through is hardly going to make it this morning.
Did you happen to see, so a little bit of gradient here, you can see top right for those watching maybe for the first time, welcome, but there's a gradient indicator there on the top right. This has -1 at the moment, so just coming down. That'll change up and down as they go through the terrain, applying various sorts of pressure to whatever trainer they're on at home, and that simulates obviously the effect of being on the road, which just adds to the whole effect. But did you happen to see the little video of Caleb Ewan just having a little roll around his course here at the moment, but maybe just shredding some legs down
just
here.
Having a little roll around would be fair, because he rolled off the front of the group in on the Sunshine Coast, called the World Champs group, and he absolutely smashed them. So apparently he was rolling at 65% of FTP and rolled straight off the front of the group up a hill.
Yep.
And we might just have a look at a few of those little hills as we check it all out with
Obviously
our
where we're
Colour
based.
Sports camp.
Do we have a clubhouse leader there, Greg? We've got a suggestion from Jay Avery that it means wax on, wax off. I can say that that's wrong, but good little bit of humour there.
He would be the guy. So my birthday, which I don't tell too many people about, I did get a delivery of a balloon, a baby boy balloon from Jason Avery. So he's the king of stitch-ups, and he could have been the man behind the hat.
Right.
So,
okay. We'll see. Amato in there, obviously. He's a big supporter of ours. So shout out to, I think it's Dave Kim Amato. So shout out to you, mate. You're in the peloton. We've got a big ride-on drop being dropped there. So all those big blue thumbs you can give ride-ons to other riders to give them some encouragement. Ossenbrink in there, Butler, Theo, Tran. You can see little names popping up. So well organised again. Not really a time that you want to be sort of near the front. You want to be preserving those legs and just sort of kicking back and letting others do. No nose to the breeze, in other words, Greg. No nose to the breeze. So they're going to wind their way through here. They're 4.5 miles in, which is, of course, how many kilometres? I don't know, but we'll just roughly say it. It's give or take
about
7 Ks.
About 7.
And at about 10 Ks, it starts to really get interesting. You get that rolling terrain, the early parts of Titan Grows. So Reynolds in here as well, and Tessier, Kuhn and Ossenbrink and Messenger. That's a handy. That's a very handy surname, Messenger.
But reminds me of the Daily Messenger stand that I have sat in many times at the SCG over the years.
What's the SCG, Greg?
That's the Sydney Cricket Ground.
Right.
That is where magic happens once a year in January, and I haven't been there for 4 years. So anyway, that's enough about me.
enough about you. So they roll their way down through here, the sort of the closing portions of the sands portion, this great expansion here. Great place to do a little bit of T2E work. Greg, you can really loop this up. It says dancing kangaroos. Yeah. Well, not quite right, but we do like that. I like the little emoticon there.
How do you get one of them?
Yeah, where do you get the kangaroo emoticon? Ken, are you noticing anything in the early stages here, or any riders of note, maybe some data there, maybe from Zwift Power or anything like that at all, Kent, of this race?
Nothing too in particular at the moment, Tim. Obviously on the flats coming up, they're going to be coming up to the hills pretty soon. So I think, like normal, a lot of people are just sort of saving their legs ready for the climbs because, it will be a place for them to sort of break it up. But just looking at Britt Mason.
Yeah, sure.
She's actually raced with us before. Last year on Halloween, she did the
when you put that mask on.
Yeah, that's it. So she's done the volcano.
You put her off, see?
Volcano circuit.
How'd she go?
She finished 8th, first female.
Solid.
So she's a one to contend with. So keep an eye
Great.
out for her.
Here we are with B Mason right now. So tucked in the group there, no helmet on, no, but on the Wahoo kit. So shout out and good pick up there.
Wahoo Esports team.
Wahoo Esports team, Greg, of
very
course.
Experienced with racer, and I'd expect her to keep her nose well and truly out of the wind right until the finish line tonight. Little one back from last night, Tim. We had a really good friend of Coa Sports and one of the amazing athletes went to Kona last year, Cody Allison. Donned on the jersey for his first ever Zwift race and nearly fell off his bike, I believe.
Yes, his first ever Zwift, so I've been trying to get Cody. Isn't it funny when you get that first initial bit of feedback? It genuinely the paradigm shift here in certainly in a coaching tool from our point of view about what you can do with Zwift racing, and yeah, absolutely, mate. It is an ever so powerful. What's your FTP? You show me yours, I'll show you mine. Is that how it works? But yeah, we'll and of course I like how in Zwift that they put Nathan's house in there, so you can sort of see top right. It's just blocked a little bit at the moment, but it's tucked away up in those hills there. So they replicated Nathan's house, of course, the mansion that he lives in, that he doesn't like talking about all too often. So yeah, we're nice big pack here still, Greg. So winding our way through here, we're going to finish this part of the circuit and looking good again, of course, in their Warrior jerseys.
Absolutely. And if you want to don the Warrior jersey, which I'm starting to see a few more hanging around now, that is designed by 2XU, a really good partner of us here at Coa Sports, and we might just have a little look at what they can do for your club.
We've got some fresh new young talent doing some things that I know you haven't heard before.
1, 2, 3, listen.
Interesting comment there, actually, in Facebook Live of Alex Falcon. I think I get the impression there of what he's saying about potentially talent ID, and certainly I know a lot of the national academies around the world are using things even like Zwift Academy and Zwift Tri Academy and things like that as talent ID. Not sure on the coaching side. I hope I've got that right, but if I haven't, hit us up with a private message on the Coa Sports page, and yeah, potentially. we can clarify that question. I think I understand what he's getting at, but from a talent ID point of view, I mean, it's right there. You can get some pretty raw data, certainly from Zwift Power as well, which we're of course on as well.
And a little follow up there from Alex about an under 19 race series on Zwift. There's nothing worse when I get passed in parkrun, Tim, by an 8-year-old child. So I don't know if I want them passing me in Zwift events as well. But definitely there's a lot more younger riders coming through. We can see them as the races go on as well.
And of course, Alex Falk, a multi-world champion with us on talent as well, calling races.
Absolutely.
So very, very good point, mate. And we'll link up post-race. So here comes that little kick at the start here, winding our way through the early parts of Titans Grove. Big sequoia trees. I prefer to drop the S. I've been pulled on that up before. And Talbot in there, just a little bit off the front here. 387 watts, pretty solid heart rate there, 186 beats per minute. We are just looking top left there. You can get that data and you can see nice cadence there, 90 RPM. As they wind their way through these little pinchy rollers, then it'll start to sort of taper off. And then, of course, the start of the proper Titans Grove comp. 7% there, Greg.
Yeah, definitely. These little rollers take a little bit of juice out of your legs.
Oh, for sure.
Definitely want to stay with the group. However, this course comes down to the athletes who can hold on across the top of the comm as they come through. It's a 2.2 kilometre section coming up shortly. And you can see this group already busting up. There's definitely been a separation there as they come through the rollers.
We'll throw to Ken in a minute and just find out a little bit more about that Titans Grove comm exactly and what athletes or riders can expect to see. So we'll throw to that in a minute. But yeah, good view here. I like this view here. You're right, sort of just hanging off the back of the pack. This is a good view to see here. Thanks, Nathan. So Freitas in there, just hanging off the back, needs to kick. This is that bit where you get that attrition. Yeah. You get that first bit of attrition in this race. We're off the flats now. We're starting to find out who means business for this race on the Koa Sports Warrior race tonight. Big little kick there. Got to hang on. 470 watts just to hang on.
Portugal needs to really lift his game there.
Low heart
about
rate.
25 metres off the back of this group, and if he can just get back in, although he's going to get back in right before the base of the comm, and it's going to be on again. So this group definitely now come back to about 30 riders. So we started with 60. Those little rollers have definitely shrunk that group.
And you can expect to see a lot more in a few Ks time. So what do we expect to see with this Titans Grove comm coming up in a second, Kappa?
Yeah, so it's the longest climb on the course. It's, as Greg mentioned, it's 2.2 Ks long, but it's one that will break up the group if you're not prepared to sort of dig deep and stick with them. So you can sort of expect it to split up as they near the top. But some stats here, the comm is actually held by Lucas Norgard. From Team Pyrogen, 335 is the
335. Goodness gracious me! Goodness gracious me!
44 watts average.
Not all.
So we'll see what they.
Does it have watts per kilo there, Ken?
It was 61 kilos, so 7.3 watts a kilo.
Oh, goodness gracious me. Yeah, that's some serious numbers. So good to know. I don't think we'll see a 335, but we'll certainly see somewhere in around 4 minutes to get up this comm, particularly when our I'm just going to claim when our man Alex Side is attacking off the front. No pressure.
And Hodges, our winner from last week, in there as well. So definitely going to be on as they go up the comm, and plenty of Tron bikes in there, Tim. And I would like to ask a question of you. How do I get a Tron bike?
That's the Mia hat. Now, Mia, that sounds close. That sounds very close. I don't know what Mia means. I know the concept of the hat, but have we got the?
Here we go.
The Mia hat. Is that right, Kent? No, it's not. No, unfortunately. But you had me there for a second.
Cigar. Ready?
But I'll give you a clue. Just look up the 70.3 World Championships of 2019. I'm not going to say men or women's side, but that's a pretty good clue, I reckon. So here they go, just winding their way up here. 4% as they wind their way up here on the Titans Grove section of this circuit. Still a big pack, Greg.
Yeah, definly still a big group there.
Right through to the top.
Real attacks, just a real solid push. But you can see some heart rates there from McLoone, 183 beats a minute.
Big.
That is, I don't care who you are in the world of cycling, that is definitely working. And we can see Britt there right at the front of the group as we go up the climb. Not too bad to be on the front of the group as you come up a comm. Generally, the drafting effect's not going to be there anyway, so not a bad place to be, as you can roll back through the field a little bit and keep your bickies in the can, as they say.
Always see Glavak's name near the front of the pack. Be interesting to see what the strategy is behind that. It's typically, there's a pattern there. We do see him. Here he goes again early. So he's got that longer style sprint. We've seen that in Cola Sports races in the past before. He's putting the hammer down here. 500 watts and 174 beats per minute. Talbot just there on his wheel, sitting there beautifully, starting to stretch the peloton up, coming towards the top of this climb. They've got a duck under. They go under that tree there. Yep, watch your head as they go under there.
Yeah, it's amazing scenery as they come up to the top of the climb, and we can see Glavak and Talbot.
Nothing in front of him.
Talbot in the aero helmet, looking very aero as he comes across.
Oh, here we go.
Feather. Not a bad time to dump the feather power-ups or any power-ups you might have, as you'll pick another one up as you come across the com.
I think I saw some orange lights there beside Alex Side's name, which we always typically see. 9.3 watts per kilo, Alex Side. This is the typical Alex Side that we do like to see. We spoke about it earlier as he comes across the top of the com. Likes to get those com points, I think, Greg. And always there, of course, in the finish. Even he in there responds. You don't want to give Alex too much distance as well. Don't give him too much wheel. Feather up, power up being played. Of course, they will pick up another power up should they need it as they come across the top of this com if they play it.
Yeah, and the power up you want here, Tim, is certainly the aero helmet for the finish line. I picked up a feather last night. I blew up in the pain cave. I was not happy about it.
Not quite taking it there. Talbot there. It was right off the front, all that way up to the 3:48.5 coming up that com there. So Ken obviously indicating that's some serious pace there as they came up, Greg. I was thinking around 4 minutes. So they are absolutely laying down the hammer. Some big names in that com as well. Hodges, Side and Glavak.
Yeah, so Ken, what did you say the
3:35 or something?
3:35. So we're not
3:35,
far
yeah.
outside the
Well, 20.
we're only 23 seconds. Not far.
It's not far at all. Yeah, so they're going to come down the backside here of the Titans Grove com. Big downhill chance to maybe shake the legs out or a chance to spring a surprise attack. Much smaller group. Look at the size of this group now, Greg. So down to around 20 riders. We typically see this. We do have Mason in there still. I think I saw yep, we do. Yep, so still in there hanging tough as they came across the top of that com.
Yeah, so this certainly not going to flatten out here. You get a little bit of downhill respite, and then you're into these rollers before you hit the flat to the finish. So I'm just looking more so to see who's not in that group, and that's pretty hard for me to tell actually. But definitely a group of about 20 now that are going to keep smashing each other all the way to the finish. I'm sure there'll be some small attacks as we go across the rollers, and maybe a few using their feather power up to just stay with the group as well as they come through the rollers through Titans Grove.
A little bit of white knuckling going on, I'd say, through this part of the race, Greg, where you're just trying to hang on. Talbot there, 10 watts per kilo as they come at that little kick. We spoke about this last time on this course, how you can get a little bit twitchy or almost a little bit panicky on this. It's big orange lights here off the front. Maybe an early breakaway here. They're not trying to give Talbot too much time. Hodges there responds as well, not too far away at 9.3 watts per kilo. Hodges now sitting on the back of Talbot's wheel, and we've got Ivany in there, Glavak, Dines, and Dallas as well. So maybe potentially back 5-6 seconds now back, so maybe enough. You've got some big heavy hitters in this front pack, Greg.
Yeah, definitely a lot of athletes now would be starting to hurt, but a few more rollers to go. But a little select group of 4 riders now heading off in front of this group. We've got Glavak, Hodges, Talbot, and Ivany we've seen in our races many times before. So this will be interesting as we come through.
Coming down the backside now, we've got a bit of a gap now. We've got, what have we got, about 6 riders. They're all sort of coming back together again, which is surprising. That was a bit of a knee-jerk response there, potentially, or just not letting give too much rope.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of tactics now going through here. If you're not a great sprinter and you're a bit of a hill climber, you want to try and establish and draw the legs out of the sprinters before you hit the flat section. So when we hit the bottom and we go through the swamp area, there's about 3.5 kilometres or 2 miles. Yeah, that's about right, 2 miles to go. So you want to, if you are not a sprinter of note, you want to be trying to drag some sprinters' legs apart as you come through these rollers.
Did you happen to see on the Volcano circuit of course, last week, some of the numbers that Hodges managed to just sort of spit
I
out
think
the
we
right
saw
times, about
17 watts a kilo.
about 17 watts per kilo, so hang on tight is probably the best advice, or potentially maybe just go a little bit earlier, because if you leave it to the last 300 metres, I think you might be in a bit of strife.
When do you think, Tim, if ever, there's going to be a power-up on Zwift where you can throw some tacks under another rider's wheel?
Don't think that's really in the spirit of riding, but they had a burrito there for a while. They must have had the burrito.
The burrito?
But, yeah, obviously, I understand. I think in the true spirit of Australia, you should be able to have a magpie.
Maggie
Magpie
attack.
power up where you get a bird to just clip them on the top of the head and maybe take a little bit of claret off the top
That'd
of the
be
ear.
funny.
I remember last year, of course, you lost half an ear to a magpie, which if you're not getting swooped, it's hilarious.
That particular magpie, Tim, has been, inverted commas, relocated to another location, was the official message.
Might have got the green dream, I think. But here they come out the backside here of the Titans Grove. They'll start to really flatten out, jostle for position. Maybe some early attacks, of course, we might see go up the road. You just don't want to play in the hands of some of these really powerful sprinters. We've got a BMC there off the front, Friedas. So great taste there, Friedas. We love to see the BMC off the front. Way
Second
back
group.
in the distance, you can see that second group as well.
Yeah, I'd say they're definitely out of the contention for the win here, but
yeah.
they'll all smash each other up as well. And we have seen on this course, however, Tim, the last time we raced here, there was a 25-second lead, and I think we ended up coming back to about 5 seconds in the finish because there was a bit of foxing going on as we go through.
Nice little left. So
Alex Rasmussen, very heavy on the messaging. I love it.
It's good. So. It's great engagement and good to see that. So let's go through some of these names, potentially some people to look for. Kent, maybe just if you want to identify some of those names, of course, we know some of the obvious ones, but you guys are laying out the Mario Kart concept. I'm just going to say that slid right over my head, that gag.
Mario Kart? Do you never play Mario Kart?
I know,
where you've got to pick the coins up and you slide out on banana skins. Yes. Maybe the banana skin. There you go. You can drop that in front of another rider and they give a bit of a swivel.
That's a good idea. We'll run that up. We'll get Nathan to run that up the flagpole.
Yeah, well, he'll be able to.
Maybe not tax, though. I don't think.
Here we go. We've got an attack off the front here.
Here's
from
Hodges.
8.6 watts a kilo. Gone very early. Trying to establish himself off the front of the group. I'm just going to throw back to Kent. He's got a little bit of data on some of these athletes.
You have to be quick.
So, Hodges is different to the one that won last week. That was Brian. This is James. So,
of course.
We've got a new one. But, yep, as you can see here, he is definitely one to watch. He's got some good power at the sprint, so keep an eye on him.
Yeah, definitely a solo attack off the front. This is what hurt me last night.
Handy bit of intel there, Greg.
Yeah,
it's actually a different Hodges. Who would have thought?
Right. Who would have thought?
Nice little gap
more
there.
Than one Hodges. Here comes for Friedas again off the front of the group. 10, 12 watts a kilo I saw as he busted it off the front, and we've got Talbot chasing. There's a lot of attacking going on here, Tim. Last night there wasn't anywhere near the amount of attacks as there is this evening. They're trying to break this group up as they come through. So
yeah, not far to go. We'll try and swing the helicopter back behind the peloton so we can sort of see up the road and potentially call them up the finish line. We got Cause in there. Yeah, beautifully done. Thank you from the man in the helicopter. We like that. You can see them coming up around this little bends and things like that. Potentially a little bit of elbows going. Little flick of the elbow maybe come to the front. But tactics here. Still that big front group. Hodges then drifts back to the back of the pack.
Yeah, so big group. So last night at this time, Tim, we had 8 riders left. This evening we've got over 20, I would say, 15 to 20 in there. So there's going to be I see Ivany in there from the Giant team, who is in most of our races. And we'll expect to see some big attacks by a few of these athletes. There's a couple represented in the KRT team there, so maybe a bit of teamwork going on as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're starting to one of those ancient ruins on the right-hand side. That typically means it starts to get pretty close to the finish, so you'll see some jostling, maybe some early attacks at this point. 8 watts per kilo there via Verdugo. Verdugo goes early. Can they respond? Dex Dines there, 9.7 watts per kilo. A response there. They're not going to go. They are. Looks like they're going earlier tonight. This is the start of the sprint com right now, so they'll come up the finish line now. I'll hand over to you, Greg.
Yeah, so we've got Dines there off the front, Verdugo and McLoone in the front group. Here comes
comes the power-ups. So Dine's now using the power-up as he off the front of the field. Scaffardi's still in there. We've got Ivany. This is going to be a huge... Here we go now, Tim. So 10 watts a kilo from Hodges. Talbot pushing 12 watts a kilo. This is... Oh, look at all these power-ups. So Hodges now off the front. Talbot 12.2 watts a kilo as he busts it straight off the front.
Can he hold?
Ivany chasing at 14 watts a kilo is going to go straight over the top of Hodges.
I think Talbot got it.
Sorry, we got it all wrong there. So we got Ivany just held off Talbot for the finish. And I'm sure we'll get a replay of that. But a very well-timed sprint. And Talbot just missing. Needed another 5 metres as we watch him come through.
Yeah, Talbot off the front, Greg. I think Talbot may have... I think we got a little bit of jump there on the finish line. I think Talbot has held off Ivany. Talbot hanging. I think Talbot actually
half
got
a bike length.
Yeah, half a bike length. So big finish there. Always hard to kind of pick it. And look at them roll really hard across. So there's our winner tonight. Talbot takes the chocolates in the Kohler Sports Warrior race.
A lot quicker than last night's race, Tim. Probably a minute and 30 seconds faster. So definitely some big action there. Some of those numbers again over 12, 13, 14 watts a kilo as they came up to the finish line.
Yeah,
so,
good to see. We'll have to go back through some of the comments to see whether they got it right. I'll reveal the answer. It does mean it's a lucky hat. It's from a particular temple in China. And Gustav Eden, of course, the winner of the 70.3 World Championships, he wore this hat.
You tipped him, didn't you? You tipped him.
Oh, well, may have a little cheeky gorilla on him. But So that is what the hat means. We'll have a look and see who got closest. We'll reach out and issue that 30-month code. And thanks for joining us. We are, of course, looking forward to next week as well. We're rolling around week by week. We're already mid-January. 2020 is well on its way. So if you are looking for a little bit of guidance with some of your goals, a lot of events coming up, give us a shout out and reach out. We're all too happy to help in not only esports space, but in the real world of triathlon and trail running and cycling, whatever it may be.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you guys next week, and thanks for joining us.
Absolutely awesome having Koa Sports on board with us today, everybody. I'm Nathan Guerra over at ZCL's Zwift Community Live Studios, and amazing racing out there. Now, interesting to see, I saw on that replay the same thing that those guys saw, but the back-end API don't lie. We have that saying around Zwift that the digital world of ones and zeros in the back end says something maybe a little bit different than what we see on screen. And just so you guys know, a qualification for everybody, what our avatars see in Zwift is not necessarily what all of the other avatars are seeing when it comes to those minuscule pixels, just like every other esport that's out there. There is a little bit when you're racing online or you're shooting FPS online, a slight little bit of input lag. So RC Ivany I'm actually seeing by only 1/100th of a second. I mean, it was less than a wheel length. That is for sure. I'm talking a tire from what I can see here in the live results. Now, Koa Sports, of course, will release they have the results over on Zwift Power right now. But then it was David Talbot, followed up by Mark Dallas Henry, full second back, it looks like, from the winners there. Mark McLuhan was, again, 100%, Matt McLuhan, 100th second behind Mark Dallas. James Hodges, the cake is a lie, man, was out there. KISS Racing Team, 5th place. Looks like David Kim Amato for Vision Cycling. Vincent H, Race 3R. Michael Scaffardi, followed up by Patrick Darkin and then Nick Glavick. That is your top 10 today in the racing. Now, next up for broadcasting, obviously, is going to be Tour de Zwift this weekend. The first race on Saturday. The second race will be happening on Wednesday for the men. So women on Saturday, men next week, Wednesday. And we will, again, have a similar broadcast schedule next week on Zwift Community Live, except for Wednesday, as it will have TDZ take over. So make sure to hit those follow buttons everywhere out there in the live streaming world, as we are live on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Mixer. Wherever you like to, turn on those notification bells so that you know when and where we are going live. Again, a big thanks to Koa Sports. Make sure to check them out, throw a follow. They are linked in the Facebook as well. So that's it for me here at Zwift Community Live. We'll see you guys we'll see you Saturday for some commentary on TDZ. Right on.